Okay. Okay. Very easy. Easy star. Easy. Easy star. Welcome.
You go see the Bob Marley movie yet?
No, I didn't see it, but I'm going to say, welcome to the 37th episode of John Exum with the bad Caribbean born in trouble accent. You remember my bad Caribbean
Wow.
accent? You guys remember my bad Caribbean accent when I used to walk around saying, this is my bad Caribbean accent? And then I would just like go off and say a whole bunch of bad things with a bad Caribbean accent. It's Bachman.
Fortunately, I don't remember that period.
Yeah, that's horrible.
You don't remember that period, Grant? Do you
No.
remember that period? No.
No, no, but it sounds
It's on
sounds
brand.
like absolutely.
Absolutely. I insulted everyone at one point in my life. But that's what
right.
we
and,
did.
And only the white people took it personally and tried to dump a supermarket shopping cart on your head.
They did try to dump a supermarket shopping cart on my head once. That it actually happened. And you were right there.
Yeah, I couldn't make that up.
You were right there. Yep. They failed. Anyway,
Cartoonial exploits.
they failed. Yeah, sometimes things like that happened in the 80s. Boy, it had fun. So, fellas, how you feeling this week, man? What's going on?
It's a beautiful day, man. It's been a beautiful week.
From Detroit, Michigan, the city Wayne Kang, Mr. Grant
Yeah.
Lancaster.
What up, though?
What up there? And of course, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, parts unknown, Mr. Brooks with the good looks.
It is a beautiful day in Zamunda.
What's going on, Rob?
Hey, man, my body's betraying me a little bit today. It's not happy. I don't know why.
How do you feel? What do you mean your body's betraying you?
My hips, the hip. I have a bad hip, but it's the other hip today that has me walking like a 90-year-old man.
That's special.
Wow.
Yeah, been to the chiropractor already. It got a little bit better, but not better enough.
Overcompensating. Go ahead.
Is this one of those woke up with something?
Yeah, were you trying? Did you try the left, right, left?
Nah, I don't know. I was traveling yesterday morning. I've been traveling a lot lately, so I think it's from sitting in airplanes for too long.
It wasn't like
airplanes and buses.
Very possible.
It wasn't from a surprise left, right?
No.
When you discover something new.
We're not trying to box anybody out.
No.
That's what judo flips are for. We try to keep that to a minimum.
Okay.
You first class?
Nah. No. Sometimes business class.
Okay.
But
you got to get the bigger seat, Holmes.
Even in the bigger seat, man. Like it's like the wide seat helps in first class, but like most of those seats are so worn out now. Like,
Right.
There's no oomph to them. Like you just
Yeah. You sitting on the frame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that.
These are riding in style are over.
Oh, been over. They do not care about you up there. That is not a luxury experience anymore.
They're just trying to get you from point A to point B.
I mean, I saw they raised baggage fees again.
Of course.
Yeah. What they need to do is get rid of carry-on shit.
Just
eliminate it. Just eliminate it altogether.
Just go to a new city naked. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying check your bags.
Everything gets checked underneath.
Eliminate carry-on. Get people on the plane as fast as possible, off the plane as fast as possible.
Well, you kind of have to have a wardrobe budget for when you get to wherever your destination is now.
No, you can check your bags. He's saying everything goes underneath. What takes so long getting in and out of the plane is people getting their bags up and out of the overhead bins. Like that's the non-professional travelers. Like to watch them deal with that. Oh, my bag 6 rows back.
Right.
This is too big. I don't know how to fit this in like that. All that is just there's way too much of that going on. You know, or the people who just try. They get as soon as the plane parks, they just try to bum rush to the front. Like, there's a way to do this. We're gonna be orderly about it. Like, just breathe. You're in row 26. It's gonna be 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you get out of here. Just relax, bro.
Right.
Yeah. Well, of course, got a business call right now, but
You got a business call?
yeah, I can't really do anything about it. Huh?
Get money.
I can't really do anything about it. I'll just have to.
What kind of business you doing at this hour, homie?
Whole business. It's after 11. It's whole business. Yeah, I'm gonna take this. You guys, keep going with the call for a minute.
Absolutely.
Suddenly he's the plug now.
Yeah.
Business call, you get into the clock now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, JK is the plug.
Yeah. Yeah. Johnny Escobar.
And maybe he can replace that chair next. Get himself a real throne.
So I'm gonna tell you the reason I asked you that is because I had my first wake up pain. Like I didn't have pain the day before. I went to bed, woke up, and I was damn near crippled.
You just had your first?
Yeah, I just had my first.
Congratulations, bro. You've been taking care of yourself because I've been having them shits for a lot of years.
Yeah, this is my first one. So I can remember I was talking to my cousin, man, and I was telling him because we was talking about this pain. I was telling him, I was like, yo, I can remember like my body changing when I hit 43. And I had to start doing some different things. But then and I was fine. And then when COVID came, the effects of COVID, man, we're going to be feeling that shit for the rest of our lives. Because I done fell apart since COVID happened. Yeah.
What do you mean? Physically?
Physically, yes. Yep. I've fallen apart since COVID. And it's so hard to get it back, man. Like once you hit that, once you hit that 50, it's hard to get it back, bro.
Yeah, you have to start with diet when you get older.
Yeah.
And that's really like what the biggest change is. Like, because for me, like I've been in this for a long time. And right now, like I got into a car accident, so I'm going through therapy. So I can't lift the way I normally would be able to lift and do things the way that I normally would be able to do things. But what I'm doing is that I'm just watching my intake and I'm trying to go to a more vegetable based. I hate to give Rob that credit and everything, but Rob didn't invent vegetables, so fuck you, Rob.
Vegetables, but
you probably thought you did. Yeah,
no. You know that ain't my style.
Okay,
I'm not invent vegetables.
Okay. Well, I'm doing more leafy greens and stuff like that. Fruits and things that my body can oxidize to try to keep the pounds off.
Right.
And
how's that working out?
I mean, listen, I'm a big boy anyway. Either way, I'm always going to be a big boy. I'm probably closer to like 235 now, 230, 235, which is a natural weight for me at this age. That's been pretty much me for the past 20 years with not carrying a lot of fat. So Jim was surprised when he saw me in person. That was the one thing that cracked me up because he was like, "You're really not fat." I'm like, "Nah, bro." I'm like, I'm not fat. He's like, "Yo."
It's a very Gene thing to say.
It's right. Yeah, he was like, "Yo, bro." He's like, "You're really not fat." Because he just always assumed that I was like, nah. It's just like my training was different and everything. And you can do the same thing with your training, Grant. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I my job changed and got me in a much more stationary kind of spot. So I'm just not able to do everything that I used to do, And then with Lay getting older, you know what I mean, hustling her back and forth, doing what she got to do. You know, it just takes a toll on my regiment. You know,
I got lucky.
I never
At one
eat
point,
bad.
my daughter was doing the dance stuff. Her dance studio also had fitness classes at the same time.
Oh man!
So I was able to, like, once I realized it, like, oh, I mean, I can go take a boot camp class while she's doing that instead of just sitting there reading. Oh, it's tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Life-saving, in fact.
See, for me, I get my exercise like on days like tomorrow when I have to go out to the city. And, you know, I have to do a lot of walking, you know, which is, you know, and I have to keep it. And like for me, like especially now, I have to keep it to a minimum and hope that it doesn't like impact me too much and everything. But, you know, I like to continue to walk and move around. I feel like that's what really keeps me like more healthy and more young than anything else. People in the Bible used to, thousands of years ago, they used to wake up and they used to do physical things. Where our bodies aren't meant to be sedentary.
Right.
You know? And I always laugh. I always kind of laugh at people when they say, oh, look, you know, these people are doing so much work, or look at this guy getting up, and you don't want to get up and like walk to the kitchen for your fucking self. And really the joke's on you. You're kind of killing yourself by staying sedentary. That's the way it works. Actual lazy that God don't like. God don't like that lazy.
Yeah. And, you know, the way that life is, man, it just kind of leans toward that laziness. You know what I'm saying? With, you know, like Uber, like you don't have to cook. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You don't have to, you don't have to really do too much of anything. You know, people will bring you everything that you want if you're willing to pay the price for it.
It's like the future. It's like the future of marketing. Marketing is all about you. Everyone is like, you know, we're all stars now. That's why there's no need for stars or people who are interesting. I've just been watching how they're moving everything towards AI and the thought process that people go through in order to accept what is AI now. Are you ready for the AI gig economy? You know, are you ready for everything to be the same? Is essentially what I'm hearing. Are you ready for everything to level out and for the end of exceptionalism? Are you ready for just basically existence as it were? And something like, you know, like Rob, you were talking about Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
And her part, and I started thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about the Wendy Williams show because honestly, I really haven't had much use for her ever. I'll be honest. I feel sad. It's sad seeing anyone in the situation that she's in right now, seeing people like turned inside out, essentially, that were once vibrant. But she's never really been my cup of tea.
Right.
You know?
Actually, in the very beginning, she was. So when she turned until the Fame Monster caught her, she was.
Yeah.
Because she was kind of goofy and off the cuff. I remember when we were, and this is just the way my memory works, we were going down to DC, you, me, and Martin.
Okay.
I think it was Thanksgiving break or whatever. And she was on the radio. We driving out of New York City, and she was on the radio, and she was talking about like cartoons and shit. Like she was in the beginning, she was different than everybody else. This is before she became Gossip Queen Wendy.
That's
right.
Fact.
Like she was just doing her own thing. Like I think she was on Kiss FM talking about Quick Draw McGraw, and we were like, "Yo, she's bugging out and shit. Like, what's up with this shit?"
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
One time she was, and then the Fame Monster got her, and you know, you all know the rest.
Yeah.
You see, well, this is why you need a circle of friends to remind you of things that you actually like. I was actually wrong. You remember the time where we actually had good feelings from her. And all I really think about is all the nasty gossip and all just like the talk. I'm just like, I've never really been into gossip. I remember when she did her little piece on Craig too, on his situation at one point. And that was just like, it's just always messy stuff. So it's like, it's sad to see, but it's like she said, the way they're doing her is wrong though. How do you feel about that situation with her family? Not that it really matters. It's not anything that's important, but to me, it is important. And The reason why is because of exactly what Wendy said herself. She was like, if they could do this to me, they could do it to you.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, a lot of us, man, like the cold reality is that you're only as good as what you bring to the table, only as useful as what you bring to the table. And
that's
you know, it's a hard truth. I think men have a better understanding of it than women typically do. But I mean, if you're a Wendy Williams type and you pulling in like hard cheese, like she was probably pulling in, then yeah, at some point you, on some level, you just kind of the breadwinner, and people look at you as that. And then once your reign is over, now they trying to take what they can get and try to latch on to the next teat that they can drink from.
mm. Rob, you think that they should some of those people should probably let her go at this point? You know,
I'm assuming that they just squeeze the last possible dollar that they can out of Wendy Williams as a professional entertainer, and that they're gonna move on to the next one. They're gonna have to go find something else to suck on. But I was appalled watching it, just because I couldn't think of any person. I'm not even sure that I could put my enemy on TV in that condition, much less somebody that I claim to love. Like, you would want to protect them. You wouldn't want 1 second. There is not 1 second of video in that show that I would go, hey, you know what? This makes them look like a good person, like they're turning their life around. We should put this on TV. There's not a second of footage in there that I can think of that would qualify like that.
But she was complaining about the fact that she didn't have a spotlight and she didn't have a voice. It was the only time that she actually felt like she was, quote unquote, alive, per se.
Oh, yeah. But at the same time, she's probably not the best person to make that call right now. It's unfortunate when you run into that thing. Like, do you let a person play out the string the way they want to play it out? Or do you intervene and protect them? Well, some people you can't protect them from themselves, which Wendy seems like she's that person right now.
I wish I had someone who knew a little bit more about conservatorships, like, on the show right there. I should have done some research. I could have brought someone on, because there's been a lot of talk about conservatorships and what's going on with her situation. It's like she doesn't really have a say in where her money is being spent. Correct? Is that basically what she's saying
right now? Yeah.
I mean, is
all
that
of her
right?
spending has to be approved and guided. Yes.
Like, what are they saving it for? Isn't the money that she made supposed to be for her heir? What exactly are they saving her money for? What are they saving it from is like my question. Are they saving it from ever going into the Black community? What the fuck is it?
I think that, she's got no income now. So what she has, in theory, has to last her the rest of her life.
Okay,
and
but
so
in what manner?
They're looking at how fast they look. Well, obviously, for the rest of her life, there's only 6 more months. You can go out the door a lot faster than if it's the next 30 years. Like, some of their beef was the type of spending. Like, supposedly it was like $1,000, $100,000 on like Grubhub or Uber Eats, one of those that was spent in 1 year. The first class flights back and forth. She didn't have an income anymore.
Right.
She can't live like she's making 15 mil anymore.
Right.
It's not like she's going to get syndication on those shows. Those shows are dead and gone.
So, right. I mean, with that said, when her family members, in particular, her son was looking over her finances, is there some financial literacy that he could learn, that he could take it over?
I don't know what the process is by which.
Do we know? Maybe he has it already.
Well, he had power of attorney.
No, I'm saying maybe he's financially literate like that. And
then they stripped it from him. He was her guardian, and they stripped it from him because he's the one that they said that they accused of spending like $100,000 on like Uber Eats in a year.
Well, I mean, if you have a personal chef, how much does a personal chef make?
All depends what you can negotiate, but probably like 75.
I mean, my point is this: like, there are people that are living here in the suburbs on Long Island that spent 100,000 hours on Uber Eats last year.
Yeah, but
They're
they
doing it
obviously
right
have the
now.
income to support it.
Oh.
You know, she's not going to have, not only is she not have, there's no, in the condition that she's in, she's got no hope for any future income.
That's
Money's
a
only
fact.
going one way in her account from now on, out.
Right.
Right. So what's I mean, I think I don't because I didn't see the doc. So what's her financial status? I mean, I would guess that she has some investments that she could.
There's a conservatorship. All her money is controlled by Wells Fargo. So there's a guardian who they have to meet with once a month who sort of directs and appoints her spending. She does not have a credit card herself.
Okay. Interesting.
So, and it looks like it was sort of, her family had her down in Miami, her son had her down in Miami. Seems like her manager and the people who were associated with Wendy Williams, the business, fought for this conservatorship and pulled her back to New York.
Right. When she was down in Florida and she was basically sober to a certain extent, right?
She was more sober. Her son was fighting to try and keep her sober, but also staying on top of all of her medical appointments and trying to do stuff to help her, stay as sharp as she can.
Right.
So the business of Wendy Williams is more important than Wendy Williams herself, is what it sounds like.
Or essentially,
that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, if there's no business of Wendy Williams, then they've already decided there should be no Wendy Williams.
I
Sad,
just can't believe that they would do that. They'd put her on blast like that. But it had me thinking, and I asked John this earlier. She was top of the world for 20 years. She blew it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew you could be top of the world 20 years, you're going to pull in millions of dollars. You're going to be able to get on private jets. You're going to go to parties with people you only see in magazines. But the ending's going to be hell. Would you take the deal?
It's a good question.
20 years, you're going to be $15 million a year for 8 years. Probably make, 3 to 5 for 6 of those. Make $2 million in the beginning.
So right now, my answer would be no, I wouldn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because for me, the money is not the thing, right? Like peace and happiness are far more important to me than money. And it just seems like a lot of turmoil in her. It seems like there's always been a lot of turmoil around her.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but when your livelihood is talking shit about other people, then you're going to draw that.
You got bad energy around you. You put it out there, so there's going to be bad energy around you.
Yeah. So yeah, you can miss me with it. If I'm going to die badly, nah, I'm out. Over time, like if I'm gonna get hit by a bus, you know what I'm saying, then cool. If I'm gonna get hit by a bus, and that's gonna be that. But if I'm gonna be, had
walking around not
whatever
yourself,
else, no, I'm out.
There was one scene where she wanted to go get some vapes, and they're like, "All right, there's a store right by the old Wendy Williams studio." They pull up on it. This ain't it. They said, "I don't know where the hell you taking me. I told you to take me past the studios, whatever." So they pull off. They do the loop around the block. They pass the Wendy Williams studio. They come back to the same store. Where the hell are you taking me? This is the store. We just wait. I told you to pass Wendy. We just passed the studio. We passed the studio. We made the turn right here. This ain't, in her mind, this ain't it. This ain't the store. So now she's going off on them. They go in. They try to get the vapes. Of course, this ain't the store. So these ain't the vapes. Guys, like their drivers trying to tell her, like, "Hey, these are vapes you get here all the time." Basically starts cussing him out. Like they did 3 laps around the block before the producers finally came in and said, "Yo, we got to call it a day on shooting. Like we got to, which was also a strange scene too, because it seemed like the van that they were riding in, they were basically putting her out of the van that they were riding in. When they said they were wrapping for the day, they were like they were negotiating how they were going to get her out of the car.
What?
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah,
So she probably fronting on the car point too. She ain't being driven around in an Escalade on her own.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
I'm out on watching it. I don't, and I'll be out on watching a lot of things only because I don't feel like I'm going to glean any more information from seeing the visual than just from hearing the parts that I don't even want to hear. You know what I mean?
Well, I watched it because Rob suggested that I take a look because he was talking about the estate stuff and the estate angle. And I couldn't watch it, even as I had it on. I really didn't watch it too closely. Because to me it's like grotesque. It's like macabre.
Yeah.
It's like it's not stuff that I would normally, people like they always wait for your downfall. And when you asked me the question, I didn't answer it earlier today. And I think that I really answered that question 20 years ago anyway, or probably closer to 30 years ago. I think I probably already answered that question. I would rather be here today. Because when you're in that thing, like, the survivors, that's good. But how about all the people that didn't survive that shit? All the heads that ain't here no more from that time, based upon, bullshit like, Wendy Williams putting shit on blast. Feelings in the Black community is something like, it's serious. We're seeing it actually go from your mama's house to the streets. We saw that in Kansas City last week, or it was two groups of heads looking at each other. And it's like, to me, it's like, yo, bro, there's no money involved in that whole situation. It's like, why are we staring at each other? You know what I'm saying? To see who's better looking. It's like almost like who shot Tyrone in real life. It's like manifesting itself. And you could show, I bet you every person that was involved in that shooting watched Who Shot Tyrone on Netflix. And still, it's like, just because he looks like you. And that type of hatred and that type of like conversation, the way it's like Wendy Williams was a part of talking down on a lot of Black people for a very long time to get ratings.
Right. But it's been documented that negative press gets more, it's better clickbait. Right. Like if you have a negative comment, if somebody says something on like social media and you have a negative comment about what they said, your comment is more likely to be looked at, somebody more likely to respond to it. You know what I mean? So people just kind of respond more to the negative because, I think on some level, you just want people to be doing worse than you are.
Yeah.
So
she saw an avenue that was wide open. There was nobody who was kind of doing that, who was kind of filling that role, like spilling the tea on the Black performers. The mainstream media was never going to touch that. So she took the shortcut. I'm not mad at her. Like, that's, the free market system is whatever's viable. She saw a viable lane. She took it. She's going to pay for it with her soul. But that's neither here nor there. That's a choice. You can pay with it. If you want to, you can pay for it with your soul,
If that's the choice that you make, if you feel like that there's value in that, then sure.
Yeah, but more than likely, at the age that she made that decision, she just saw the lights and didn't see the truck that was, the lights were attached to.
Yeah.
And they say there's light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it's an opening and sometimes it's a train.
Right.
It's tough. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. You know, I mean, what does that say about our culture? Our culture that envies people who are quote unquote stars and famous, and knowing that in order to get to these spaces that they're sacrificing so much of themselves. And like really honestly, over and over, we see it again. These people are essentially inside crumbling, falling apart.
Yeah, but all we see is the glitz and the glamour. Like nobody knows the real
Right.
cost of things. Like only you know how hard you had to work to get where you are. So to everybody else, it's just look at that person. They're so talented. They're there. You know,
Right.
I want to be there, but they don't know what there actually is, or what it actually costs to get there.
And there's a serious like lack of desire to even know like what that journey is like. The journeys don't matter anymore. The pathway doesn't matter anymore because AI is coming in to fill in the gap for you. So with that AI experience, with that and what you already know or what you already believe, we're in a new world right now. It's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
but there has to be some like the path has to mean something. You know,
Does it?
and it has to.
The path is
Because-
everything, but we're a goal-oriented society.
Right, but goals move, right? So once you hit one goal, you know, okay, cool. Now I got that. Now let's move the goalpost. But if you're doing something for a purpose, that's something different than doing something to reach a goal, right?
Mhm.
Like so as a musician, right? As a musician, if you get on a record, cool. Now you're trying to get to Carnegie Hall, cool. Now you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the goal should move. But if you're just trying to make a hit record, if that's what your end goal is, then you know you make a hit record and then you'll just be a one-hit wonder. But you'll always have that in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. That you did
So-
that thing. Yeah.
Right. But for that,
It's hard to
for
make
that
a hit
person,
record.
right? But that's what I'm saying. For that person, that journey meant something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If all
Yeah.
he wanted was to hit record. But if you trying to get to Carnegie Hall and then you know, play for the Queen of England or whatever the other thing you may want to do, and you accomplish all that, then that journey meant something. You know,
See, every journey should mean something, but most
Right.
people overlook it because they're so busy on focused at what's the end of it, and that's how
Well-
people wind up missing their lives.
Well, I think it's the disparagement of the journey right now that's really the gap in between what actually is and what needs to be, what needs to actually happen, because they don't see any value in actually getting up and doing it. Like it's easy for us to talk about it. Like, yeah, we understand like the journey is important. It's funny. It kind of it molds you into the person that you would be. But right now, they're saying that, okay, listen to these old motherfuckers talking because there's no need for us to be molded into different people. We want to be the same. We all want to be like, you know, we want to all go jump Cam Newton. You know,
Oh my
we want to be
God.
that guy. We want to be that guy. That's who we want to
That-
be.
that was so disrespectful. I mean, because from what I heard, it was his camp.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the most. And you know, I saw the video. Kudos to Cam Newton for not banging the shit out of these dudes.
Absolutely going ham on them.
Yeah, because that 6'6", 250 hit different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the six of y'all couldn't even. I know everybody's talking about how his hat never came off. The six of y'all couldn't even knock the man's hat off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if he had really wanted to hurt somebody, there would be some hurt people today.
He'd have stopped looking like fucking witchy poo.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the ultimate disrespect, though, you know, it's how are you supposed to go back and give to your community, and your community doesn't? Not only do they not protect you, they actually attack you.
But the disrespect is part of the culture, though. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying that the disrespect.
That is sort of sewn into the culture these days.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole. So I was talking to a school group today. These kids from local high school came in, and my man was like, "Oh, y'all were watching last year. You went to the World Series." This one kid goes, "But you lost," and that's kind of like sports talk radio. Like if you don't, if you're not number one, you're last. If you're not first, you're last. Like Ricky Bobby,
right?
Like instead of like, yo, there were 29 other teams who would have loved to lose in the World Series last year. Only one team's gonna be the champ at the end of the year. The journey to get to be one of those two teams, to give yourself the opportunity, is what it's all about. But that's not the way anybody thinks anymore. Did you win? Very binary. Did you win or did you lose? You lost, you suck.
Right.
I have people say to me, "Oh, that guy sucks. He can't play." I'm like, "Oh, really? That guy's one of the 750 best baseball players on the planet right now." Like, he could do things with a baseball that you would dream of. You would fucking run it. If he throws a baseball at you, you'd run away from it because you'd be scared to catch it. But he sucks.
Right.
But people are comfortable on the phone, first time, long time. I can't believe they signed this bum.
Yeah.
Or getting behind the keyboard.
So what I think because I hear that all the time, and I had this conversation a lot because I'm one of those people that doesn't believe what I hear from like sports radio. So keep in mind, if you talking about let's pull whatever John Smith plays for whatever team, you can say John Smith sucks, right? But you have to understand that John Smith, if he does suck, he sucks in the context of playing professional basketball or baseball or football.
Yeah.
With, like you said, the 750 best people on the planet doing what he's doing. So, yeah, maybe out of those 750, maybe he's number 722, right? But where are you on that list?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, if you try to, like, you guys are talking about providing context, and that's not what they're talking about with context. Context isn't what that idiot blurted out when he said, "But you lost." Context would be like, it took you X, Y, and Z. Context is really what the best parts of sports and any conversation is really about. If you're not talking about context, then what are you talking about? Like, really, we talked about, just like going, for example, just what we talked about tonight. We talked about Wendy Williams, but in context, we talked about how she's perceived by different people. And me, myself, basically saying that, hey, I never really dug her. Rob reminded me of a time that we did dig her, that I did dig her, at least on that afternoon. Going all the way into the people making money about it and why they may have motivation to actually do that. Most people aren't doing that. Like you said, Rob, they're just saying, "But you lost." They don't know that the general manager had to come up with the plan, and they had to sign contracts, and the players had to train a certain amount of hours off season, and they're traveling 162 games plus playoffs and all that other shit. They don't care.
No, the fans don't care. But that's I always tell people it's about sports radio. Like, once upon a time, you went to a game or you watched a game and your team won or your team lost. But if you had a good time, you had a good time. Again, we went to the game, we bugged out, it was cool. Yeah, sometimes you don't even remember where they won or lost. But now you don't. It's not worth going to the game if they're not going to win. Well, why do I go? They're not going to win. What? They're not serving. They're not going to serve beer today. What? They stopped selling hot dogs and cheesesteaks.
Right.
What's that about? But that's that talk radio mentality. That very binary. They win or they lost. The hot takes.
Well, that's the whole part about, like, what Grant, what you were saying about the Super Bowl being exclusive.
Right. So and to that end as well, there's a lot of, clearly Detroit didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay. But
there's a lot of, as a person who is a casual observer of the Detroit Lions, I am not a Detroit Lions fan. Never have been. I love Barry Sanders, but I'm not a fan of the Detroit Lions. However, as a casual observer, I've had to talk several of my fan friends off the ledge. Because listen, my man, you didn't expect them to make it to the championship game.
Right.
You didn't expect them to make it to the NFC championship. They gave you meaningful football in January in Detroit, which is unheard of. You haven't had it in 35 years. Right? So if they gave you that, look, enjoy the process, B. Next year, they may or may not be better next year. They may be, they got three options. They could either be better, worse, or the same.
Right.
But next year, enjoy the process again, my man. Let's ride this thing out. It's not just about, as much as it is about simply about winning a championship. Sometimes you have to learn how to win.
Right.
And that learning how to win is losing.
And that used to be a part of the journey that the whole city of Detroit would be looking forward to, like, actually experiencing.
Right.
But because now it's like, but the world is so small now. So it's like Rob said, you win or you lose, right?
Yeah.
There's no,
and I think a lot of that, man, I'm telling you, a lot of it has to do with gambling and sports. You know, like they just passed the thing in was it Ohio or somewhere? They passed the law that now they can't do college players, they can't do a individual player prop for college anymore.
Okay.
Right. So and it makes a difference. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they did it because college players are they in their minds, they're easier to get to point shaving, fixing games, whatever. You can kind of make that happen with a college student that's making no money when the coach is making $10 million a season. Right. So why not throw the game and get this $100,000? Right. But the marriage of sports and gambling, because it's not new, but it's new on this scale. Right. It went from a couple of cities. It went from like Las Vegas and Atlantic City, and it went nationwide, like seemingly overnight.
Like you could do it, but you had to know somebody,
right?
You know, and you had to play around with the edges of the law to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas
you
now,
heard that.
You sitting in your car, everybody's sitting in their car. You can do it while you're sitting in class.
Right. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think all that matters, man. It's all part of why everything is so polarizing right now.
Well, I look at it also as a sign of a bad economy, that they allow gambling to essentially become nationwide overnight. And that's part of the reason is because they have to keep those tax dollars going in. And, you know, back in the day, the mob used to run that stuff, and they used to throw mobsters in jail for the same thing that the government is now benefiting off of.
Well, I mean, that's the lottery too, isn't it?
Yeah.
The lottery is just the numbers.
Just the numbers, right. You know, you're just you're knocking out, once again, you're just knocking out the small enterprise. But, you know, when you talk about sports, and like your Detroit Lions had to come up, my Brooklyn Nets, whoa, these guys are like stinking up the building every night. They're killing it. And last year we were having conversations, and I think I said it a couple of times on the show. I was like, these dudes, they keep talking about they want to get rid of Katie and Kyrie, and they just want guys that are going there and they're going to play hard every night. And I'm like, I don't think you guys really know what you're talking about. That's not really what you want to see. You know, you think that. And now they
effed around and found out.
Yeah, they effed around and found out. And the thing is, they're having a hard time like dealing with the fact that you know, that this is a result of bad management. And it's important to understand the minutia and how it actually gets there. So that way you understand what type of team you're actually rooting for. A team that's getting ready to sell 10% to the Koch Foundation family.
Right.
You know, after running Kyrie out of town based upon a questionable video. It's not questionable to them. Yeah. It's not compliant.
Your stance on Israel has to be in lockstep, otherwise it's wrong.
Yeah, and
Right.
Ben Simmons came out today talking about he's going to give everything he can for the organization, wearing a traditional. I noticed the color scheme; it was traditional Chinese nationalist colors with a dragon and the Nets logo in the middle of it, and him bowing his head. So we see where this is going with this team. I might have to actually not have a favorite NBA basketball team in a year or two with the way this shit is going, because it's politics. But to me, the reason why I find it interesting is because communism is actually has actually bought into the NBA because of the dollars and the market that China is. So they're allowing a lot of different things to happen. And I don't knock it, because look, you know what I'm saying? It's the market. Everybody uses Chinese products. It's like they're not developing stuff in the United States of America. So what are you going to do? You're going to die on that hill?
It's greed. At the end of the day, it's greed. Like, so there's the one vantage point from which you're the owner of a property and your job is to expand it and increase money for your shareholders. If it's a public company, your job is to drive value for the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Does the NBA really need to grow into China? Does it really need to capture the Chinese audience? If nobody ever watched a fucking game in China, would the game change in any way? Would these motherfuckers go broke? No. But the way to grow the game is to capture that market. The way to grow your revenues is to capture new markets. It's the only way you can grow it. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, the corporate corporate model is to always grow each and every quarter. So if it's not growing, then it's not doing well.
If it's not growing, then it's dying.
So essentially, this is the opposite of the concept of a mom and pop. When you owned a store and your family owned that store for a couple of generations.
But the NBA, those are all private entities. In theory, they don't have to drive profit. But they're running the NBA like a corporation. And so the league has to continue to grow. If it's not growing, it's dying.
Right. And that leaves it open to other morally questionable decisions.
But
the pursuit of money always leaves you open to morally questionable decisions.
There it is.
I think part of it is just the fact that you're losing the fan base here. That's part of it as well, because people are not letting their kids play football. There's a segment of people that just won't let their children play football. So
smart parents.
In order to keep it going, though, now you have this whole NFL Africa movement.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you have to keep it going. You're going overseas. You're playing games in Germany. You're playing games in England. You know what I mean? You playing these games in these different places, just trying to spark the interest so that you can keep it going. Because as America is moving away from doing things, just period. Right? They're moving away.
The NFL is like boxing. Like, the NFL has become a dangerous sport. It was always a dangerous sport. It's become a very dangerous sport. And it's becoming almost like, why would you put your body, if you have any other options, why would you put your body through that?
Right. But that's the thing.
That's the reason why boxing is not where it was.
But a lot of people just don't have any other options, or at least in their minds, they don't have any other options.
Yeah.
Well, it's the best option that's put forward for you.
Right.
Well, it's the one that you think is one. There's a joy in competition, but two, the pot at the end of the rainbow is sizable.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm going to become a computer engineer. I'm going to write software code. You're probably going to get a very nice job, and you're probably going to have a very nice life. But if you make it to the NFL, you're going to be rich.
Right.
It's a matter of whether you're rich for a very short time or a very long time.
It's the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And it's the Hunger Games in actual real life form. Because for a lot of people, that's exactly how it is. You're either going to make it or you're not going to make it. And if you don't make it, then
Well, that's the problem. The overwhelming number of people are not going to make it.
Right.
Cannot.
Well, jobs in law enforcement.
Unfortunately, that's
Actually true.
well, it's actually true, but that's one of the reasons why we have the type of law enforcement that we have.
We do.
Yeah, but now you also you had people making money with the XFL, the USFL. I mean, well, they just combined, I think.
They did just combine, yeah.
Yeah, but they're
not making.
trying to do
they're
some
making.
other
They're
things.
making it. They're making workers' wages. They're not making
Right.
NFL money.
True.
Well, it's an opportunity to keep your career going.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousin's son just signed with a team in Germany.
So
Yeah.
So he can be playing over there next year.
If you the USFL, XFL, what you need to be doing is trying to find one of these disgruntled NFL players and pay that man. Kind of like the NBA did with who did the ABA get? Dr. J?
Okay.
George Gervin? It was somebody that the ABA snatched from the NBA or something, or vice versa. But that's how you got to do it. You got to get. That's the way to get on the map.
Buy somebody really expensive.
Yeah, because you need star power, particularly in these days and times. You need star power.
Hey, Saquon Barkley. That'll do it.
Yeah.
And some Giant fans will be like, he'll still get injured.
Not over there.
Oh, man.
He'll be running people over in that league.
Right.
Oh, yeah. He most definitely would be. Yeah, man. So we're almost up, bro. Just about at an hour.
Word.
Nice and peaceful this week. Nothing really too crazy. You know, after last week's colorblind episode.
Man, that
was
episode was funny, bro.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Episode is funny, Doc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I thought that was the best. That was possibly the best show that we've done. You know, we've done some pretty good shows, but that one was actually like pretty good and everything. You know, I felt bad for Harold, you know, because he got, but that was bad. Shout out to Harold.
He was laughing.
He was laughing. He actually handled it pretty well. You know, we got in there pretty deep. Yeah, man, but it was a nice quiet week this week. You know, besides when you consider all the shootings and, you know, there were a couple of shootings, weren't there? Yeah, a couple of shootings. And
there's always
shootings.
America. There's always a couple shootings.
Yeah,
right.
That's just Monday.
You know, it's just like Oakland and San Francisco. There's always somebody jumping out, breaking through windshield, car glass, and stealing the contents of the car.
Right.
It's just life. Fly.
Hey, life is what you make it.
Yeah. Next week we're gonna have a pretty good episode. I'm gonna try to see if we can work out. What do you guys think?
I'll be in a hotel next week, so we'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, let's see if we can get in early so we can get Gene in. I miss Gene.
Yeah, man.
I miss Gene.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gene Hopkins.
Yeah, we done turned into a text message relationship. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's not good. Not good. Gene would have probably enjoyed last week's episode immensely, too. The colorblind thing.
Oh, yeah.
He really would have. So, big shout out to Reg. Reggie Johnson out there doing the thing. And everybody else that's listening to Board in Trouble. All, who knows how many of you. One.
My man John's so low energy today.
You know what? I've got stuff on my mind, and I got a grind coming up this week. And the feet come into the fire, and it starts tomorrow. And I almost canceled, because I got to get up and move tomorrow, and I'm not at 100% and everything. So, but I thought about you, Rob, and the show must go on. The show
must go on.
So I'm
not sure why I inspired that, but
hey, at least 3 out of 4 weeks during the week. So, but yeah, man. So Born in Trouble, yo, 37th episode, much more team than last week. If you came back expecting to hear more race hustling stuff and things like that, we leave it to other people this week. I think we made our point last week. I really enjoyed doing the show last week. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for participating, both of you.
Yeah, you know, yeah, we always here.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and hey, it is what it is. Born in Trouble, 37th episode. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.